Greetings and welcome back. We are in Senior English A, and we are continuing now with our study of Chaucer. And we're going back now to our comments regarding the Wife of Bath's prologue. We're going to do two things in regards to now remaining. One, I want to finish talking about that prologue, which, by the way, you have not read. I'm simply telling you about it. And then I want to set up then our study of the Wife of Bath's tale. Let me pick up and finish in our conversation of yesterday. The Wife of Bath is very radical in her presentation of opinions regarding the patriarchy. Now, I said a mouthful there, but you should be able to understand it if you were with me for the conversation of yesterday. Remember, Aristotle said it is totally natural that men run the world, women keep their mouths shut and do what they're told by men. For Aristotle, that's the way it is. It is a non-challenged opinion. Of course, today, if any guy tries to say that, some girl's going to step up, or some guy's going to step up and jack him good, right? That is to say, views have obviously changed quite a bit. Can we say this for your notes? One of the reasons views have changed is because of Chaucer. Chaucer, in many ways, is the first in a great line. I say the first, obviously there's others that maybe even will precede him. We think, of course, of Plato's discussion of why women can be educated just like men in Republic. But Chaucer is certainly going to be a radical iconoclast of his day, suggesting that, in fact, women have a voice, and they should speak, and men should listen. To finish now, the Wife of Bath will go through a long prologue where she talks about the ways in which she controlled her husbands. You'll remember she's had 5 of them, right? She will finally come to her last husband. It's interesting what she says about it. She says, I made a mistake. I married for looks instead of for money. And she said that was a mistake. He was young, he was good looking, and worst of all, he tried to control me. And he took away my abilities to go out and have fun. And she said he was abusive to me. He would smack on me and stuff, and I didn't like it. But this was the relationship, because she said I would talk back, so on and so forth. She said he had this book that he liked to read. This book told stories of all of the terrible things women do to men. For example, she said in one of his stories, this is from Roman times, there was this guy who had this large plantation in his backyard, and a tree back there. And this guy was lamenting or being sad to his friend. He said, I've had 3 wives and they've all gone out and hung themselves on that tree. To which the other guy said, dude, can you give me a branch of that tree so I can plant it in my backyard too? Ha ha ha. You can got it right. Ha ha ha. Well, anyway, we're told he's reading stories from this book like this. For example, one of the stories is obviously this story about how Eve is the reason why all sin came into the world, because she ate from that tree in the Garden of Eden. And the Wife of Bath makes an interesting point to him. She says this, of course, remember, this is Chaucer writing. She says, well, of course Eve is going to be blamed for all the bad stuff that happened in the world. Who wrote the book? A bunch of guys did. Have a woman tell the story of the Garden of Eden, and she said, I'll bet you money the story would come out a whole lot differently. Of course, if guys tell the story, Eve's going to be the one blamed for all the sin in the world, or the Greeks, of course, blame Pandora. Remember the little box that she opens up because of her curiosity? But she makes an interesting argument. Of course, women are the ones who get blamed for all the bad stuff when guys are the ones writing the books. Let a woman write the book, tell the story of the Garden of Eden, it might look and sound a whole lot different. You see how this works? Well, anyway, one night she says, I've had enough of it. He's sitting there, kind of drunk, reading his stupid book out loud. She said, I had enough of it. I go up, I grab the book out of his hand, I tear out several pages, and I backhand him over the face with this book of his. And he goes falling back into the fire that's behind him, and he starts getting on fire. He jumps up, he's enraged. He comes at me, she says, and he smacks me good. Which is why she says I'm deaf in one ear, because he whacked me good. She said, I fall down on the ground, and immediately he thinks he's killed me. He thinks I'm going to die. And in the process of thinking that I'm going to die, she said, I knew I had him, and so I pretended like I was dying. And she said, I said to him, oh, you killed me, but I still love you anyway. Come and give me a kiss before I die. And she said, when he reached down to give me a kiss, I smacked him right back on the cheek really good to pay back. And she said that was payback. He said back to her, so are you going to die or are you not going to die? She said, we finally figured it out together. Are you ready for this? This is the end of the prologue. She said, we finally figured it out together. It was rough and rocky at first, but she said, finally, he handed over the bridle reins to me. That is to say, let me be the leader, right? And the only thing he said was, go wherever you want, Alice. Alice is her name. Go wherever you want, Alice. Just remember you're my wife. And then she says something very interesting, and a lot of guys have struggled with this line. She says it this way. You can beat a girl, you can beat a woman, you can be mean to her, you can make her afraid of you, but she'll never love you. The only way a woman will ever love a man is if he gives her freedom to do whatever she wants. So you got a choice, she says to guys. On the one hand, you can scare a girl, right, into obeying you or whatever, but she'll never love you. If you want to be loved, the only way that happens, the wife of Bath says, is for a man to give her total freedom to do whatever she wants. That's the only way she'll ever really love the guy. So then the guy has a nasty choice. You can reign over the woman, the wife of Bath says, with an iron fist, but she'll never love you. Or you can say to her, do whatever you want. I totally trust you. And that's the only way she'll ever really love you. Finally, the wife of Bath says, oh yeah, I was going to tell a story. And it's about that time that the partner goes, seriously? We've been waiting a half an hour or more for you to get around to your story? Well, you talk a lot. To which immediately the friar will say back, why don't you just shut up? We're trying to listen to this girl tell a story here. And the partner says, so you're starting in on me. Friar and partner get ready to have fists, right? They're ready to knock each other out. And the friar says, well, I can come up with a pretty good story about a partner. To which the partner goes, oh, really? Well, I can come up with a good story about a friar. Of course, later on, if you want, you can read the friar and the partner, and the friar's story. And the friar's going to tell a good story about a partner. Well, anyway, the wife of Bath finally is given her chance to finally tell her story. The story we, of course, call The Wife of Bath's Tale. We're now going to turn to that. So let's take out our annotations. And we'll be ready now to talk about The Wife of Bath's Tale. All right?